A new report from the International Institute for Strategic Studies finds that Mexico is the world's second most dangerous conflict zone, coming right behind Syria as the deadliest place in the entire world. Yet critics still oppose President Trump's border wall to keep Americans safe. Here to discuss, Steve Rogers and Gina Loudon. Gina, they went on in a piece to say it was remarkable that you had Mexico right after Syria, ahead of Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia. But all of these crimes are mostly small arms versus tanks. I mean, think about the carnage. 23,000 people slaughtered by crime lords and gangs in Mexico last year. Shouldn't we try to stop that?
Yeah, where's the left's compassion, Charles, for the families affected by the $25 billion of U.S. money that goes to fund these drug cartels that hold these families in Mexico hostage? You want to talk about tyranny or fascism? This is very real in Mexico. The cartels control the police, they control the government, they control everything, and they do it with U.S. dollars. So when we talk about building a wall, we're talking about protecting Mexican families from this lunacy as well. But if that's not enough for you, Charles, I sit here in San Diego. There's a little boy sitting miles from me, 6 years old, who was head injured with his family in a car today on his way back from Disneyland, if you will, and by a person who was deported 15 times, a drunk driver, an illegal, deported 15 times. Build that wall.
Steve, that kind of violence on your border, I mean, the better way to say it, if we told Americans, we geographically put Iraq on our borders, we'd be in a panic. If we had Somalia on our borders with that kind of crime, we'd be in a panic. And yet Mexico had more deaths related to conflict, violent criminal gangs and drug lord conflict in those two nations.
Charles, the drug cartel pretty much controls Mexico. Their judicial system, their political system, the police, the army, nothing short of military intervention, at least up to a point where we can put an end to this, because sooner or later.
But would it be easier to start with the wall, though? I mean, can you still believe the sort of pushback that we're getting on this border wall?
Well, the wall would be the beginning. It would probably work. I mean, our border states, keep in mind that the crime we're seeing in Mexico, there's a lot of crime going on in the border states of the United States with Mexico. A lot of it's not reported. But the wall is very, very important for our national security. Anything else, I mean, the next step would have to be troops on the border.
Right. You know, Gina, it's not just the border states, of course. 3,000 miles away in Long Island, we have an epidemic of MS-13 gangs who have pillaged. I mean, they have destroyed parts of Long Island, which is hard to even fathom that they're even there, but they're dominating to this degree.
Yeah, Charles, and I'm so glad that you cover this, because the violence and the carnage and the lives lost in America and Mexico because of this political idea that we somehow don't need to secure our borders, it is costing real people. And I'm so glad that you cover this, because in the media it's largely covered up. We don't hear about a lot about what really happens, and so it's kudos to you that you cover this.
Do you think, Gina, the wall's going to be built? There are a lot of people who whisper that no matter what, it still won't be built. You do? Okay, well, because
it has to be, Charles, because Trump won't always be president. It has to be built.
And Charles, how about trying these gang members and drug dealers as domestic terrorists? Yeah. That brings it to a whole new level.
And no more illegals who drunk driving with 15 times in and out of this country. It's a shame. Guys, thank you all very much. Yeah.